Hey guys, I'm Gentry with the Hobby Lobby Creative Studio, and today's video is all about tips and tricks for hanging frames like a pro. So let's jump right in. The first thing you need to decide is where you want your frame to go. You'll want to consider the size of the wall compared to the artwork along with how the room is balanced. You don't want a tiny frame alone on a large wall, for example, or too much decor clustered in one area of the room. The center of the picture should be at about eye level or approximately 60 inches from the floor. If you'll be placing art above furniture, try to keep the bottom of the frame 3 to 6 inches above a sofa or 4 to 8 inches above a table. And don't forget to center the frame relative to the furniture below it or in the middle of the wall. Something to keep in mind when deciding on frame placement is the location of wall studs. A stud is a structural board, usually a 2x4, that drywall sheets are attached to. Studs run vertically and are placed every 16 to 24 inches along a wall. These studs provide a more secure hanging surface, especially for heavier pieces, and are really easy to locate using a stud finder from your local hardware store. Just mark the studs with a piece of painter's tape or a sticky note to keep track of them as you plan your placement. Now that you know where you want your frame to go, it's time to put some hardware in the wall. To be sure that you've chosen the right hardware for both your frame and wall material, check out our framing hardware video. Now, there are a couple of techniques I like to use to make sure that I get the hook in the right place on the first try. So to do this, I'm going to use some painter's tape, a pencil, a measuring tape, and a level. While holding your artwork in place, stick a strip of painter's tape on the wall, placing the bottom edge flush with the top of your frame. Once the tape is in place, mark the right and left edges of the frame on the tape. At this point, double check that the tape is level on the wall. For pictures with one hanging point, such as wire or sawtooth hanger, like these, you want to find and mark the center of your frame. Do this by measuring the width between the two marks you just made on the painter's tape. Divide that by 2, then measure that distance in from the mark on either edge and mark your newfound midpoint on the tape. Next, you'll want to figure out where the hardware sits on the back of your frame so you know where to place your hook in the wall. For a wire hanger, hook your measuring tape on the midpoint of the wire and pull it up taut. Take the measurement from the top of the frame and transfer it to the wall, measuring from the bottom edge of the painter's tape down. If your frame has a sawtooth hanger, you can get the correct spot for your wall hook by simply measuring the distance from the teeth of the hanger to the top edge of the frame. Mark that measurement on the wall, again measuring down from the bottom edge of the painter's tape. Now you're ready to install your wall hook at the mark you just made. And here's a quick tip. If you're using hook style hangers in your wall, like these, be sure to adjust their placement up or down so that the cradle of the hook, and not the nail, is at the mark you made. This will ensure the frame hangs exactly where you intended. If your frame has 2 hangers, like these D-rings, just measure the distance from the center of the hanger to the side and top edges of the frame. You already have the edges of your frame marked on the painter's tape, so use those points to mark your newfound measurements between the middle of the hanger and the frame sides. From there, you can measure down from the bottom of the painter's tape and mark the distance you found between the middle of the hanger and the top of the frame. Use a level to make sure that the wall marks are directly below the marks you made on the tape for the hangers, and that the 2 wall marks are level with each other. And that's it, you're ready to install your hooks. Another way to take the guesswork out of hanging a frame that has D-rings or a sawtooth style hanger is by using a little bit of toothpaste. And yes, I said toothpaste. Put a little bit of it on each piece of hanging hardware on your frame, and when you've found where you want the frame to go, press it lightly to the wall. This will transfer a bit of toothpaste exactly where the nails should go. If the frame has more than one hanger, use a level to make sure your toothpaste marks will have your picture hanging straight. So, there you go. Hanging frames really is that easy. And with a few tools and these helpful tricks, you'll have all your frames hung up in no time. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for joining us here at the Hobby Lobby Creative Studio, and we'll see you next time.